Hi everybody, good afternoon. I've been thinking about you today and I wanted to ask you, what do you do for fun? What kinds of hobbies do you have? One hobby that Mrs. Greene has is baking and cooking. I love to cook things. So I thought it would be fun if we made some cookies together. What is the first thing we need when we're going to make something? The first thing is a recipe. So what we're going to make today are no-bake cookies, and this is my recipe right here. Can you see it? And a recipe is a list of ingredients that tells us all the things that we need to make no-bake cookies. And when we're doing math in school, we're actually learning things we need to know when we do bake or when we do cook things. So we need today 1 stick of butter, half a cup of milk, 2 cups of sugar, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 1/2 cup of peanut butter, which you can leave out if you're allergic to peanut butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 cups of oatmeal. Those are the things that we need. So everybody, let's get started. First, I have this big pot. You need a really big pot like this. You put it on the stove, and we need to turn the stove on so the pot will start to get warm. We have to be really careful when we're working by the stove, and you need to get your parents or your families to help you. The first thing we're going to put in is the butter. And we need 1 stick of butter that looks like this. And I'm going to chop it up into smaller pieces because it melts faster that way. Now what do we need next? Our recipe says that we need to have 2 cups of sugar, and this is a measuring cup. So I'm going to measure 2 cups of sugar. Here is my sugar container, and here's 1 cup, and we'll dump it in. And here's 2 cups, and we'll dump 2 cups in. And the next thing we need to get is milk. So I need to go to the refrigerator and get the milk. And our recipe tells us we're putting in 1/2 cup of milk. We dump that in. And next, we need to have 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. This is cocoa powder. So I'm going to measure that. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. There's our 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Now I'm just going to check my recipe and make sure I have in there what I need so far. So I have the butter, the milk, the sugar, and the cocoa powder. Now we need to heat it up and make it boil. Does anyone know what boil means? Think about that for a minute. What does boil mean? So I'm going to stir it. I need to get that butter melted. And I need to get the pot nice and hot. And boil means you're going to know it's boiling when it starts bubbling. And when you make no-bake cookies, you kind of have to pay really good attention because they cook really quick. And if we cook them too long, they'll be very hard and they won't taste very good. So while we're waiting for our butter to melt, I want to show you my sweatshirt. I have my D.W. Merritt sweatshirt on this morning. Are you wearing yours at home? I also want to remind you that this week coming up on Monday, buses are going to be coming and delivering lunches, and teachers and ed techs and staff members, we're going to be following the buses so we can wave at you and say hi. So you make sure you're watching for us. And you can look on our website and see which days your buses will be coming by. That will be really fun. We're going to decorate our cars and we'll be tooting and waving because we miss you and we want to see you. So that's what we're going to do next week. Next week is also vacation week. What are you going to do fun during vacation week? Maybe you'll go for a hike, or maybe even go to the beach. You can play outside. All kinds of things to do during vacation week. And you don't have to do any schoolwork either. It's going to be a real school vacation with no schoolwork at all. Let's see, we're not bubbling yet, but we've got to wait until we bubble. How many of you like to cook at home? Do you help mom or dad or your grandmother or someone in your family cook things? It's a really fun hobby. Mrs. Greene likes to cook lots of things. These cookies are called no-bake cookies. Why do you think they're called no-bake? Let me tell you, they're called no-bake because they don't go in the oven. We make them on top of the oven, on top of the stove. We're stirring them all up. It's almost bubbling. We have to pay attention because once they bubble, they cook really quick. So Mrs. Greene's going to set the timer for 1 minute. That's how long we want them to bubble. So they're bubbling away. How many seconds in a minute? Do you know? How many seconds are in a minute? There are 60 seconds in a minute. It takes 60 seconds to make 1 whole minute. And we're going to boil and bubble these for 1 minute and 15 seconds. And it's bubbling really well right now. You're going to keep stirring them so that they won't burn. They're really doing a good job bubbling over here. Almost time for us to add our other ingredients to the pot. Almost, not quite. They smell really good. Chocolate smells good. I'm going to do 15 more seconds. 15 more seconds. I'll stir them up. I need to get a pot holder to hold this pan so I don't burn my hand. Okay, we are done bubbling. So we're going to turn off the stove. And now we need to add 1/2 a cup of peanut butter. We have to do this part pretty quickly. So Mrs. Greene's going to estimate how much 1/2 a cup is. And I know you do that in math because I don't want to take the time to measure it because I need to do it quickly. So there goes my peanut butter that I estimated. And now we need to stir that peanut butter in. It's going to melt into the regular butter and the chocolate and the milk. And it's smelling good and it's looking yummy. We're getting that all stirred up. And the next thing we need to add is oatmeal. Not cooked oatmeal, but oatmeal that comes right out of the container. So there's the peanut butter in. Now we need 3 cups of oatmeal. Our oatmeal looks like this. So here is 1 cup of oatmeal and 2 cups of oatmeal and 3 cups of oatmeal. And now we dump in a little bit of vanilla. Vanilla looks like this. We need a teaspoon, but I don't want to measure it because it takes too much time and I don't want my cookies to get too hard. So now we're going to stir them all up in a big pot. We need to get that peanut butter mixed in with the chocolate and the oatmeal and the sugar and the butter. It's going to be so delicious. And keep stirring because everything has to be mixed up really good. Almost ready. And after they're all stirred up, we need to put them on wax paper. And they will harden and then we can eat them. There we go. They're all stirred up good. Now I need to take the pot, and they look like that. And I'm going to take a big spoon, and we scoop them out onto the wax paper, and I'll show you when I'm done doing this what they look like when they're hardening up. They're looking really good. Nice and peanut buttery and chocolatey. Almost there. No bakes are one of Mrs. Greene's favorite cookies. And I make them a lot for the teachers at school. When we come back to school, I will bring no-bake cookies for all of you. We'll have to make a lot. There are 110 of you. So I will have to make lots of batches of cookies. They're almost all on the wax paper. We're almost done. They look really yummy. So, this is what they look like. Let me show you. Do you see them? Don't they look delicious? So they are going to get all hard, and then we can eat them later. Mr. Greene and I will eat them. So, hope you had fun cooking with Mrs. Greene today. I miss you, and I'll message you again soon. Bye for now.